What's happening, everybody? Welcome into the Wilber and Gold Show on a Friday. It's episode 34. We are in the new apartment, and I am happy to be with you on a Friday morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. I know I am. Got my coffee over here. Got my water, my filtered water, keeping it pure over here. So welcome. Welcome to the new crib. It's the first episode we've done since I moved 2 weeks and 4 days ago. Moved 2 Mondays ago at the start of, or on October 4th. So it's been about 3 weeks or so since we've done an episode. Lots been going on. I'm finally settled in. And, you know, really from here on out, you know, I've got the main setup of what I want ready to go. Now it's just going to be adding, you know, new things here and there as we go. But I'm glad to have you in the new place. We had to retire the old background. Make sure I'm live here. I hope I wasn't just ranting. Okay, we were on. Just got to check these things out. No, so we had to retire the old background. You know, all the knicky-knackies. Oddly enough, that similar setup. Few things have changed with it, but that similar setup is actually literally right on the other side of the camera, and that is the beauty of now having a full place, a full apartment to myself, and not in my bedroom in my parents' house. I'm really itchy for some reason. My nose is itching. I swear I'm not doing cocaine. No, I mean, that is the beauty of having an entire apartment with an actual sense of fucking home decor now, because God knows I love my parents to death, but they got no sense of fucking home decor because my dad pretty much runs that portion of the house, you know, what goes where, what's moved, and my dad hasn't moved anything since the day I came out of my mother, so it just ain't it. And the man, I consider myself in the most humble way an absolute assassin of home decor and interior decorating and design. I'm very proud of that. And you know, up until this point, all I've had was a bedroom to work with, whether it was the room at my parents' house or all the rooms I had in college. Made the most out of it, squeezed every bit of the juice out of it I could, but it is time, and it was time, to finally have my own full place to work with, and I gotta tell you, it is fantastic. You hear this? Quiet. Nothing. And the walls are extremely thick, by the way, because I know a lot of time, and this is one thing I was looking at when I was looking for apartments, you know, when you look at the reviews, people are like, God, the walls are like paper thin. You can hear every little thing that happens. Literally, I have barely, like, I've heard a thump a couple of times since I've been here the last 2.5 weeks. But unless you're literally right outside my door in the hallway, then you can maybe hear something, kinda, maybe. But other than that, I mean, you don't hear anything. Like, you do not hear anything. So it's so nice. But, kind of getting back to the point, now we're going to be able to have, like, multiple backgrounds. So obviously today, you know, welcome to my kitchen. Got the desk, office, studio set up right here. But, I mean, sometimes we might be set up in the living room. We are absolutely going to be set up in front of the knicky-knack wall here, and you know it's similar to what you guys were used to at my parents' house. You know, the background there, but it has changed a little bit for the better. And again, that's the beauty of now having a full place is like I can just continue to add things here and there. I'm working on starting a little lounge area in the corner of my bedroom. So that's going to be fun. We'll probably be able to do some shooting there. As of right now, my bedroom needs the most work. Like, it's very basic. That was the thing that was going to be interesting about this for me. Because, again, like, I've always just had a bedroom to work with. But, you know, it's always been like a bedroom / office / studio / man cave / whatever. And now, for the first time ever, my bedroom is just strictly a bedroom. So we got some things to work on in there, and I'm gonna give you guys a full apartment tour here pretty soon because there's a show. I don't want to give too much away, but as I said, I consider myself a force when it comes to interior design and home decor. It is a part of myself that I have really not shared all that much with the world outside of if you come into my room over the years, you'd be like, holy shit. Like, and you can literally ask my roommates and people that have come and seen it. Like, it literally started my freshman year of college. Like, the first time, and that's the thing is, like, I don't know why, like, you know, it's been kind of an evolution. It's been a process of, like, kind of showing who I really am to the world. You know, I've always kind of been, you know, this character, you know, communicator, love designing and having a good a good interior design setup. And I'm sorry, I was looking at the TV. And I don't know. I guess I was always kind of shy of it and who I was back in the day. But I remember the first time that some of my roommates and we had a couple people over that we were going to school with my freshman year of college. They came upstairs and looked in my room. They weren't like looking, but they were looking around the house, you know, because we had just moved in not too long before, and they saw my room, which I, you know, did my thing, and they were like, "Bro, this is like a hotel room." I'm like, so every year since, my room, man, it's just, and I'm trying in the most humble way. Like I'm not trying to like, oh, like. But it's something I've always had, and I mean literally every single year of college, and I lived somewhere different every year. My freshman year of college, so my first 2 years of college, I went to a college called Surrey Community College. I was a baseball player, so that's where I went. You know, I always tell people I majored in eligibility because that's basically what I did. I was more of an athlete than a student. That was kind of my priorities there, just the truth. So I went, my first 2 years I went to Surrey Community College, and then I played my first 2 years. You get 4 years of eligibility as an athlete. Played my first two there. Didn't have somewhere to transfer to after that because junior college, community college, it's only 2 years. It's 2 year. Didn't have anywhere to transfer to after my sophomore season. I was still determined to go somewhere to a 4-year school. So basically what I decided to do was just take a year and train and try and get myself somewhere. And so I went one more semester worth of a couple classes at Surrey that fall after my sophomore year. And then I went to Guilford Tech, which was a community college in my parents' hometown, so I moved back for the spring, and then ultimately the next 2 years I went to William Peace University, 4-year school in Raleigh, Division III. I went and played there, majored in communications, even though the communications program is an absolute fucking joke there. Did not finish, didn't get my degree. I don't know why I'm going to this rant. We started out talking about home decor, and we now are this. But yeah, I didn't finish my degree, played my 2 years, had like 4 more classes to finish, and all 4 were they were those classes where you absolutely have to literally push yourself through them. They're so bad, and they're so pointless, and they were bad. And all the while, I got into my my internship in sports radio simultaneously as I was taking some of these classes in the summer that I needed. And I was just I wasn't a baseball player anymore, so I didn't need my, GPA to be a certain number to be eligible. And I was just really kind of checked the fuck out on the school side of it. I was never really checked in outside of just making sure I was eligible to play. And then, when my parents were looking at my grades when I was in high school and middle school, obviously, but yeah. So, and not only that, the big factor that ultimately was the finishing knockout blow, if you will. I was in an internship in sports radio It was the number one. It was a sports radio show, the David Glenn Show. If you're in this area, you might be familiar with him. I know a lot of people are. On the air for like 11 years. And not only was it the top sports radio show in the state, North Carolina, it was the top radio show, period, talk show, period, in the state. So I actually didn't know that till like a little later on, just how big it actually was. So very good opportunity. And so I'm at my internship over there. And one thing that David Glenn and the producer that actually got me into it, Darren, did very well is giving feedback. So if I was not doing something up to par, they let me know. When I was doing something that was very good, they let me know it. So I was getting some negative feedback, to push me and, tweak some things, but a lot of positive feedback. I mean, I was, again, in the most humble way, like I was doing very well. Like I was getting a lot of good feedback at the actual fucking internship. And so alongside that, I had to take an internship class at school. And meanwhile, I was getting like a fucking D at one point in this internship class. Like, it was so fucking stupid. And I love how this is turning into a rant session about school. But seriously, that was the finishing blow for me to realize, I really don't think I fucking need this. And I really do believe that. And as I've learned and gotten even older and a little more mature, I mean, that was let's see, summer of 2019. We're now in fall of 2021. So that was every bit of almost 2.5 years ago. And yeah, 2.5 years ago. And it was the realization that the internship I was doing was actual real life experience, and the internship class, and then just all the other classes, is fake. It's not real. It's not a real environment, and that's the problem that I have. And maybe we'll go into a deeper actual, like, this is not me just saying fuck school. Like I actually have legitimate like issues with the school systems. But we'll take a little more time to get into that maybe at a later time. But, like, the school system the education system, it's so flawed. The amount of debt that kids take on, and then they think they're set afterwards. Meanwhile, they might struggle to even just get their foot in the door. A degree means a lot less nowadays than it did decades ago. It's just a fact. And now it's based more on pure talent. It's like, what does a piece of paper matter if I'm exceptionally good at the job? Like, who the hell cares? And some of the best companies in the world, some of the best CEOs in the world literally have said, I don't fucking look at resumes. I don't look at your degree. I want to know, do you have the skills necessary to do well and give us value at this job? And so it's a fucked up system. And but that was the knockout blow for me, is just the realization, like, I'm literally crushing this internship, actual real-life experience of the industry I want to get into professionally. And then meanwhile, I'm getting like a C and a D in the internship class. And my teacher could not fucking stand me, for obvious reasons. And it was just like, this is whack. Like, the fuck are we doing here? And I just realized, I don't need it. I don't need a degree. I don't need a piece of paper to be successful in what I'm going to do. Now, let me pivot here. I would say, there are certain career paths, there are certain fields where you do need to get a degree. Medical, science-related, math-related things. But I would say for the majority of us, I don't think you need a college degree to be successful. I really don't. I would say for probably 80 to 90% of people do not need a college degree. Think about it. People go to school and get a degree, and they really don't even know what the hell they want to do. They get out of school, they get this degree, and they end up going into something completely different than what they said because they really had no clue anyway, which is fine. It's rare that you find someone that really knows what they want to do. I mean, that's what college is for, is figuring that out. And, so the majority of us do not need a degree to do what we want to do and to be successful. Like, God knows I don't. Either you're good at it or you're not. Either you can bring value or you don't. And so that's and again, we'll get into a more I can't talk this morning. We'll get into a more detailed and kind of actual like detailed oriented discussion about that, because I would like to maybe be more part of that conversation of exposing why the education system is so flawed, because I feel like I have actual experience in my background to kind of show and add more to that conversation. I mean, you hear Elon Musk say, you hear all these CEOs, like some of the most successful people in the world were dropouts or flunkouts. Like, and I'm not saying you should aspire to be that, but I'm just saying it just goes to show how little a degree really actually means for the majority of us in the big picture. So that was not planned, but I love how we got from home decor and interior decorating and my college living situations to the education system. Don't you love how that works out on this show? So anyway, at Surrey, I lived in 2 different places each of the 2 years I was there. The first place, I was at a kind of a renovated farmhouse, like in the middle of fucking nowhere. The second year, I was at more of like an actual house that was in a little more populated area. The first year, I mean, literally it was in the middle of nowhere. And then in Raleigh, I lived in 2 different places each of the 2 years. Actually, I was there technically. I went to school there 2 years, but I was there in Raleigh 3 years. There was the 2 years at school, and then the 1 year of my internship, I lived there. And I lived somewhere different each of the 3 years, so I always had a new room to work on. And I swear to God, all of the 5 years that I had like a college living place, like literally my room was like the one that people stopped and looked at. It was like the showroom of the house, essentially. Meanwhile, the rest of it had college mess everywhere, like liquor bottles everywhere, and just dishes piled up in the sink, and just I never really went through the college living phase. I really didn't. It just never really appealed to me. Like I've always I don't know. So that's that rant. Let me get a sip of coffee. Oh yeah, I adjusted my coffee level this morning, and it is really paying off. So yeah. Anyway, the interior design, home decor thing, I would like to start doing more with it. And that was the whole point of that, was like just in college, other people started to really see like, and I guess kind of reaffirm what I'd already thought was like, I feel like I have a little bit of a skill and a talent when it comes to this stuff. And, so anyway, we will be exploring that further. But I will be giving you an apartment tour here very soon. I have some good content planned on things related to that. So, let's see here. So, I actually had a fair amount of NBA that I wanted to get into today. That's been pretty hot here this week. Obviously, opening week for the NBA season. I have Ben Simmons fucking on my screen right now. I got SportsCenter on in the background here. And I guess since that's right there, we can start there. Like, And I don't have a ton to say about it because I'm not like completely dialed in all the details, but I'll just say this about this Ben Simmons situation. Like it literally, it's so toxic that literally I can feel the toxicity in my body every time I hear somebody talking about it. Like that's how bad it is. Like, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers this offseason was a little bit of a different scenario because Aaron Rodgers is one of the greatest quarterback talents of all time. Say what you want about only winning 1 Super Bowl, and, he's lost several NFC championship games, but it is undisputed that he's one of the greatest quarterback talents we've ever seen. And he that was a little bit of a different scenario because when you're Aaron Rodgers and you're that level of good, ultimately I believe that he had the leverage and the Packers had to basically get down and kiss his feet. And, long story short, this will probably be his last year there. They came to an agreement, and he seems happy. He seems bought in, and this is probably going to be his last year there. But he is bought in, and he looks to be having a good time. And the Packers are one of the best teams in the league now. But I would say that's not the case here for Ben Simmons because he ain't Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's not a good shooter. He's a good player. but he has some flaws. He's not a good jump shooter, as we well know, and it just, I don't know. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. There's a lot of debate right now. Will he play for the Sixers again? Is he done with the Sixers? Like, I would just be done with it. Like, I would want that level of toxicity out of my locker room so fast because it is not going to do anything but hold the team back and hinder the team. It is not going to do anything productive. So, if I'm the Sixers, I get out of that situation as fast as I possibly can. Like, I just, it's bad. Yeah. I really don't have even that much more to say about it. Like, it's so toxic. Very similar to James Harden last year with the Rockets, but again, James Harden's one of the great. I mean, he was just named the top 75 team. Like, he's one of the great NBA talents we've ever seen. Ben Simmons, he's a good player, but he's flawed to the level that he is not there just yet. Stopped up. So yeah, this Ben Simmons Sixers thing, they need to they need to go ahead and knock that out, I believe. So get him out of there. And the biggest, and I think the reason, can't talk this morning. Part of the problem, I mean, because Ben Simmons is dug in on his standpoint. He wants out. But the Sixers are just as dug in from their perspective. And that is, they don't want to give him up for 25 cents on the dollar. And that is the problem. That is the one issue. So people that argue that Ben Simmons will play for the Sixers again at some point, begrudgingly as it may be, he will, is because if he wants to get out of Philly, he's going to have to keep his trade value up. And the more he shows out, not in a good way, the more he doesn't play, the more he just causes drama and makes a scene, his value goes down. Because nobody wants this problem. So, I mean, look at Kyrie. So, it's a weird situation. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I don't have a prediction on it. The only prediction I would say is he's going to get out of Philly at some point. It's just when and how bad and ugly is it going to be on the way out. But if I'm the Sixers, like, I want that out of, like, I would, and I know this is very easy to say from where I currently sit and not in the fucking chair of the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers, but just the way I think about things and the way I would run things, I want that level of toxicity out of my locker room and out of my organization as fast as I can fucking get it out. And I would give up potential asset return just to get it out. Because you are going to be more productive with Ben Simmons gone than trying to hang on to him to get what you want in return. You're going to be better off to just dump him, maybe take a little less, but, unfortunately, I don't think that's the way the Sixers are going to handle it. So, but you got to understand that level of toxicity is so bad for your locker room. I mean, it's not good. I mean, they had a team dinner the other night without him, and they were talking about what a great team dinner it was. Yeah, because he wasn't fucking there. They finally got away from that bullshit. Like, that level of toxicity is so not worth whatever it, like, because you're not, and people are talking that maybe James Harden could end up in Philly for Ben Simmons, or, there was talk about maybe, with the thing with Kyrie in Brooklyn, maybe he would come. But outside of those two, like, you're not going to get what you're looking for. You're just not. I think the Sixers are trying to get $1.50 on the dollar, but they might have to settle for 50 or 75 on the dollar, maybe 50 on the dollar for Ben Simmons to get him out. Like, I would get that level of toxicity out of there as fast as I fucking could. So Bucks Nets the other night. That's actually how the NBA season got started. That's actually how the season got started the other night. They had the rings. Actually, I did have something I wanted to get into. I had something I wanted to get into on this. So, a lot of times, what has typically happened over the years is when it comes to the ring ceremony and the raising of the banner for the opening night team in the NBA champion from the previous year, is more times than not their party gets spoiled because, you get caught up in the emotions of last year. You get caught up in what happened last year, and you're kind of taken out of, this is a new year, this is the start of a new year, and it's almost like you don't really start your actual season till maybe the next game or a little bit up the line. And some teams, we've seen this, never completely recover after winning that championship. We call it a Super Bowl hangover or a championship hangover, and you really don't see them ever they've reached their peak. And this is the thing with Milwaukee, is that Giannis has heard this as a player. Milwaukee has heard this as a team for the last handful of years. They're a good regular season team, but when it comes to the playoffs, they can't get it done. When it comes to the finals, they can't get it done. Well, they put that story to bed. They got it done. They won the chip. And a lot of teams would reach that point, that first championship, and that would be it. They would never quite be that way again. That was their peak. They spent all this time finally, great regular season team, getting to the playoffs, making a little bit of a run in the playoffs, getting to the finals, winning the finals, and then they never quite recover after that. That is not going to be the case with these Milwaukee Bucks. That nucleus has been together for a good handful of years now, and I saw something, and I don't know if you guys saw it. I saw something because I watched the entire ring ceremony, the banner raising, all of it, and then the game. I saw something that basically told me, and obviously the game play further affirmed that this is not going to be the case with the Bucks, and they're going to be right back in the mix. And I think they actually have the edge and should be favored over the Nets, because I don't think the Nets are going to be. They're going to be good. They're going to figure it out. They had a bad game. Bucks beat the shit out of the Nets, is what I'm telling you. But I think the Nets will come together. They'll start to click. But I've never completely bought into the Nets, just between health reasons, that the chemistry or lack thereof of KD, Kyrie, James Harden. I mean, you're talking about three of the moodiest players in the NBA. Not at all LeBron-like leaders at all. And you're seeing it now as Kyrie is probably not going to be back for the Nets with the whole vaccination thing. I'm not saying they're not good. They're great on paper. I mean, that might be the greatest big three we've ever seen on paper. Maybe even better than, the Warriors, several years ago. Maybe some would consider. But I never completely bought in. But again, health reasons. Kyrie has health problems. James Harden, on occasion, has had health issues, especially once it gets. He played pretty decent in the playoffs last year, so it just wasn't the case. But between that and just between those personalities, I just never completely bought in, and I don't. I think the Bucks are the favorite in the East, in my opinion. So anyway, so they were raising the banner for Milwaukee. And, they raise it very slowly. It was like, it basically, I think it said on the top, 2020, I don't remember exactly, but 2021 NBA Finals, then the Milwaukee logo, and then World Champions at the bottom, or something or maybe it was Milwaukee Bucks, the logo, and then World Champions 2021 at the bottom. Whatever. So as whatever lettering was on the top of that banner is what I'm telling you. As it just finished coming off, the banner is still being raised off of the rest of the banner, but all the lettering is officially revealed. As that last bit of lettering is revealed, they had the camera on Giannis, and as that last bit of lettering is revealed, the banner is still not finished raising, mind you. Giannis turns around to his teammates, to Middleton, his teammates. Let's go. Let's get loose. Let's get warmed up. The banner is not even finished being raised yet. And Giannis, he turns to his teammates. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get ready. Let's go. And that told me all I needed to know. That might not be anything to you, but to me, Giannis was locked in on the task at hand. He smelled the roses as much as he needed to or felt he needed to, but he was ready for this. He was locked in on this. He's ready to get started again. That was last year, and he knows that. And I just thought it was interesting. As that last bit of lettering is revealed, the banner is not even all the way up yet. He just turns around to his teammates, to Middleton, and said, all right, let's go. Let's get ready. Come on, let's go. Like, that, to me, was very telling. He's locked in. He's ready. I think this team is focused, and I don't think they're done. And I think that they are the legitimate favorite in the East. I love Giannis. Like, I'm a Hornets fan, but there are certain players that I do like to watch play. I do like, LeBron. And Giannis is up there as well. Like, Giannis, he's so grounded. He's so humble. And he gets it. He's not, he just gets it. He's very grounded, and I like that about him. And so, as big of a talent and name as he is, like, he's very easy to root for. And so, I hope my Hornets can maybe knock him out, but easy. Let's see. Let's see here. So let's go on to the other game that night. Lakers-Warriors. So the Warriors were down for a majority of the game. By the way, the Lakers are so much fun. The Lakers are going to be fun to watch this year. I mean, it's just crazy. I was telling my buddy the other day, it is LeBron, Russ, AD, Carmelo, Wayne Ellington for me because I'm a Carolina fan, and he was on the greatest Carolina team I've ever seen back in 2009 when we rolled through March Madness. Beat every team, set a record, beat every team by double digits. That was such a fun team. But yeah, you got Dwight Howard back. You got Rajon Rondo back, the two guys that you never should have let go in the first place because they were such a key part of that 2020 NBA bubble championship team. And obviously the biggest question mark is going to be Russell Westbrook this year and how he's going to fit in. And it's kind of cliche at this point. It's going to take some time. But I think it's going to work out, and I think they're going to figure it out because, and so much of the argument that was made against Russell Westbrook working out for the Lakers is because it's not worked out with so many other superstars. Didn't work out with Kevin Durant. Didn't work out with James Harden. Didn't work out with Bradley Beal. But you got to understand, they aren't LeBron. They're great talents, but they're not the leader that LeBron is. LeBron makes others, like, he has it that he makes others around him better, and he gets that aspect of it better than any player I think we've ever seen. And this is and it was kind of almost weird. This is the first time, and you guys tell me if you felt this too. This was the first time that you saw Russell Westbrook out there the other night, and it was the first time that he was not, like, out in front. In other words, I mean, he's the third option on this team. There's LeBron, there's AD, then there's Russ. And it was weird to see that because you're used to seeing Russell Westbrook way out in front, like a bulldozer. And it was kind of odd seeing that, but if there is a player that can get him to buy into that type of role, and he's still going to be one of the main options, he's just going to be third. He's the third of the big three. If there is a player that could actually get him to buy into that role, it's LeBron. And I think he is bought into that role. It was kind of like, I've never quite seen Russ that way before. I mean, again, like, he wasn't quite, he wasn't the guy out in front leading the charge, way out in front of everybody else. And he didn't have a good night. He had like 8 points. He shot like 4 of 13 or whatever the hell it was. But he'll figure it out. And the point was, is like he actually looked okay and content and having fun being in that role. And it just goes to show that LeBron has been in his ear. He's kind of gotten him to understand, like, this is what's going to give it. This is what's going to give us the best chance to win. And also, again, Russ did not have a good night his opening night. And LeBron basically said in the press conference afterwards, like, he's so hard on himself. I told him just to go home, watch some comedy, just do you. You'll be fine. And he told Russ what he needed to hear and what he's needed to hear his entire fucking career. LeBron told, like, you're too hard on yourself. Just go home, watch some comedy. We'll figure it out. We'll be good. And that, again, reasons like that is why LeBron makes it work. Reasons like that is why I think this is going to work ultimately. It's going to take a little time to work out the rough edges, but that level of being there for your teammates and really showing your teammates that you get it, that's what's going to make this work. Because Russell Westbrook has never had a teammate like that before. Russell Westbrook has never had a teammate that would tell him something like that before. Because, again, remember, Russell Westbrook is always bull in the china shop, out in front, and you couldn't really tell him anything up until this point. KD's not that guy. James Harden's not that guy. Bradley Beal's definitely not that guy. And to me, it was a tell as to this is why that little clip of LeBron of what he said to Westbrook and that temperament he had with Westbrook is why I think it's going to work. Because Russell Westbrook has never had somebody that would sit down and tell him that before. Like, you're way too hard on yourself. Just chill out tonight. We'll get it figured out in practice. You got to and just play your game. You'll be good. He's never had a teammate that would tell him that before. KD's not that guy. James Harden's not that guy, and Bradley Beal's not that guy. And it just I think that's the figure. Which, I mean, who doesn't need a LeBron in their life and whatever they do? But that is the figure that I think Russell Westbrook has needed, almost like a big brother figure. And I don't think Russell Westbrook has ever had that before. He's had like a brother figure, I guess, in KD there for a while in Oklahoma City. And then he's just kind of tried to be a one-man show everywhere else. And I don't think that, I mean, he's an incredible talent, one of the best of all time. But we know that already, and now he wants to win the championship. And there's a certain ingredients you're going to need to do that. And I think LeBron being the big brother to him that he's never really had before, I don't know if he's an only child, but, like, I mean, like on the court, that to me is... I think that to me is that's why I think it's going to work. By the way, Steph Curry was cooking last night. This is the last thing I'll say and I'll get out of here, but I don't know what he finished with, but Curry went 9 of 9 for 25 points in the first quarter last night, ended up hitting the 2 shots that won the game against the Clippers for the Warriors, their home opener. Watch out for the Warriors this year. You know, they desperately want to remind you who the hell they are. They're not going to be the dynasty Warriors with KD, but you remember how damn good the Warriors were before KD. You know, that 2015, 2016 team. 73 wins record. You know, Iguodala is a little older now, but they have, and Draymond's not quite as good as he was then, but I'm telling you, you just wait till they get Klay Thompson back. We haven't seen Steph and Klay play together in a couple years now. And people have forgotten, I think. Because obviously, you know, the formulas out there how to be like the Warriors were, or how to beat a said Warriors team. You know, the Nets formed. You got, obviously, LeBron and the Lakers. You got the Clippers. You have all these other teams that are contenders now, and the NBA is much more interesting now. But... Andrew Wiggins has had a good start to his season. I think he's kind of bought into where he's at. And there's some new guys in the Warriors that are really good that I like. I'm telling you, maybe even before, but when Klay Thompson gets back, which I don't know when that's going to be just yet, hopefully soon, they're going to remind you who the fuck they were and who the hell they still are and can be. Like, the Warriors are going to be right up. I'm telling you. I'm calling it right now. The Warriors are going to remind you who the fuck they were and that they're absolutely still a contender. So, that is it. That's going to do it for our Friday show. Appreciate you tuning in. Glad to have you in the new apartment. Can't wait to show you a little bit. I can't wait to show you a lot more of what we got going on around here, the different backgrounds and things, and different type of content we'll be doing. So have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll see you next time right here on the Wilbur and Gold Show. My hip just popped.